Hi, the American people have spoken. They have elected Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States. Trump's victory was expected. His margin in the Electoral College was somewhat greater than most analysts expected. As I predicted just 2 days before the election, Trump's path to victory was through the so called blue wall. He fairly easily won the state of Pennsylvania. I can show you the actual election results here from the Associated Press. He carried Pennsylvania by almost 2 percentage points. In Michigan and Wisconsin, just as I predicted, it was a bit more of a struggle, but he still emerged victorious, winning Michigan 49.8 to 48.3 with 99% of all precincts reporting, so a margin of victory of about 1.5%. And Wisconsin was closer still. Margin of victory is just under 1%. So he also won decisively in the Sun Belt and states of Nevada and Arizona. Associated Press has not called either one. Most outlets have already called Nevada. So with 87% of precincts reporting, you see that Donald Trump has the insurmountable lead of 51.5, and Arizona will also go his way, where after 66% of precincts reporting, he leads by 5 percentage points. And if you go to 270 to win, you will see that this website already and correctly counts Nevada in Trump's column. The only outstanding state here is Arizona, which, like I said, will go to Trump. He will end with 312 Electoral College votes to Harris's 226. The immediate reason for Trump's significant success in this election is correctly pointed out by a recent NBC report. He has significantly increased his margin of victory by garnering support from groups as compared to 2020. So with Latinos, he increased his support by 27 percentage points, with African Americans by 3, Asians 12, women 7, young voters 18 to 29, 13%, and middle-aged voters 45 to 64, 9%. So this is the margin of improvement compared to 2020, and this margin is significant. He garnered 45% of all Latino voters, which is the new record for a Republican presidential candidate. George W. Bush previously held the record with 44% of total support, and it may appear that Trump actually won the Latino men, even though he lost Latino women. So Trump's improvement is an across-the-board improvement. It's a very, very broad one. And so his victory is not surprising, while we still have some popular votes coming from West Coast states. It does appear that Trump has also won the popular vote, thus improving appreciably on his first victory in 2016, when he lost popular vote to Hillary Clinton by 2.1%. This may be the reverse of the situation where in this election he wins the popular vote by a similar margin, so it would be a mirror image. He would win it by something like 2 percentage points instead of losing it by 2 percentage points like he did in 2016. As it stands right now, he has 50.9% of the popular vote. Harris has 47.6%. This will inevitably narrow over the next couple of days as results from states like California, Oregon, and Washington continue to come in. There is still a few million votes in these states, so his margin of victory will probably decrease from 3.3 now to something like 2 percentage points. And if you go to realclearpolitics.com and you look at the national polling, you will see that some have predicted his popular vote margin pretty accurately. Rasmussen reports had him up by 3 percentage points. I think Wall Street Journal also had him by 3 percentage points. Atlas had him +1. So there were a number of pollsters who put him between +1 and +3, and I think this is where it's going to end with Trump's narrow popular vote victory. Trump won because a number of groups, Latinos most notably, have gotten sick and tired of being treated like an identity group by Democrats, and instead wanted to be treated like a working class group, which wants and deserves better jobs, better pay, and economic conditions that do not entail runaway inflation, while the government pretends the inflation is 2.4%. Go and check if you don't believe me. The US government is saying the inflation rate is 2.4%. And people know that their money disappears faster than they can earn it. And so democratic patronizing policies, their insistence on constant, unending, intrusive identity politics have cost them this election. You look at Texas, which Democrats have hoped and prayed to make a purple state for the last 20 years. Texas went for Trump by 13%. No, 14%. Florida went for Trump by 13%. We now feel that New Mexico was probably winnable for Trump, which is why he went there a couple of days before Election Day, but it was too little too late. He was not very far behind in New Mexico. He won Arizona and Nevada decisively. And you know what? The demographics, the ethnocultural demographics of the state of Nevada is very similar to that of California, which he lost, if these results hold up, by approximately 17 percentage points, while winning Nevada by 5. In other words, with demographic changes, which Democrats thought would make Republican victories in heavily Latino states impossible, with these changes, in fact, we see that Republican victories are very possible, because the number one issue for all groups across the board is the economy. And what we see is the economy is not good for everyone. If you're working class, if you're middle class, you are struggling. If you're rich and you've had a lot of money invested in the stock market over the last decade or two, then you're doing great. If you're working class people that does not have a large retirement account connected to invested in Wall Street instruments, if you happen to be a person who has to work for a living over time to survive, then the economy is not good for you. Nor is it good for you that there's no sense of stability anymore. There are all these constant wars around the world, and I don't know if Trump will be able to stop any of them. But I do know that, at least rhetorically, ideologically, he's for stopping them. And Kamala Harris, who knows? So there's no stability at home because of constant turmoil over, let's put it this way, issues of identity, which have been very divisive and controversial everywhere, starting from elementary schools up through high schools and colleges, universities, and retirement homes, etc. So, divisive politics at home, unending wars abroad, high inflation, jobs that increasingly are part-time no benefits, and pay barely enough to hold the body and soul together. All of these factors have combined to give Donald Trump this victory. And his campaign, as impressive as it was in some respects, still was sometimes undisciplined and committed a number of errors. In this election, he could have easily had an even greater margin of victory and could have captured New Mexico and New Hampshire. Look even at a state like New Jersey, which has been a solid blue state for decades. In New Jersey, if this holds up, and it probably will, because we only have 7% left to report, in New Jersey, Kamala Harris is winning by just 5 percentage points. In Virginia, Kamala Harris is winning by 5 percentage points. So we see that Republicans can only expand the map and can have potentially a more decisive victory next time, depending on how well the economy performs over the next 4 years. Trump's over-the-top promise, perhaps of the golden age, yeah, he makes over-the-top statements. But whatever the case, if the economy is good, whoever is the Republican nominee next time, be it Ron DeSantis, J.D. Vance, or some name we never heard before, would have an excellent chance of keeping Republican in the White House. Democrats, for their part, are in a harder situation. They have to make a choice. How much do they want to stick to their current divisive identity politics, rhetoric, orientation, policies, and how much do they want to return to the bread and butter issues like inflation, unemployment, working conditions, and life-work balance? Donald Trump is in many respects a Democrat running as a Republican, as he represents traditional working class interests. And Kamala Harris is in many respects an elitist Republican who welcomes more international trade, more outsourcing, more immigration. So we'll see how this pans out. But this election potentially is an election that redefines what it means to be liberal, what it means to be conservative, what it means to be on the left and the right. The future is uncertain, but it is also, I think, the kind of future that is full of promise if we know how to play our cards right as a country. Thank you.